friends, and welcome to Get Comfy with Laura, the podcast where we dive into getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. I'm your host, Laura Cardona, the Buena Vida life coach, emotional wizard, personal cheerleader, healing homie, breakthrough queen, and your support in shaping a Buena Vida. All right, y'all, let's go get comfy with the uncomfy.
Get comfy with the uncomfy. Don't hide it. I feel it. El camino es crecer. I rise again. Get comfy with the uncomfy. That's where I find me.
So you know that moment you feel like you just can't say the thing that you want to say? The thought is there, the feeling is there, but just something just pulls you back. You just kind of shut down, right? You get quiet. You might even get small. Somewhere in there, you tell yourself it's already been said, or someone else is going to say it better. Or someone already has said it better, or just now isn't the right time. I know that feeling. And honestly, I have yet to meet a person who hasn't had that moment. Now, thankfully, I'm pretty comfortable talking. It's this podcast. Whew, but it took me some work getting to that point of really believing what I say matters, let alone actually acting on it. So I wanted to dive into that a bit with today's very special guest, Erica Barrera. She is the host of the wonderful podcast Bipolar Baby. She is a mixed media intuitive artist. And through all her work, she models what it is to show up messy, show up honestly, show up for yourself, how to share your voice, how to share your story. I love, love, love the way she shows up. I love all her content. I love her. Let's get into it. You say to yourself, what I say matters.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get comfortable with saying what I say matters?
Honestly, a lot of practice, a lot of literally affirmations. Affirmations have changed my life. And honestly, I had to imprint that phrase into my life at a certain point. Maybe 5 years ago, I was dating someone and he had a group of friends, and when I was with them, I never felt heard, and I never felt like I belonged in that group of people, nor did I kind of want to belong to this group of people. It didn't mesh naturally, and I felt like I wasn't it was one of those things where people say, are they fueling you, or are you drained by the end of it? And you're just ugh, And I literally felt so small when I was hanging out with these people, which is so sad because I am not a small person at all. I'm a big personality, and the fact that I could be in a group of people that made me feel that way, where I didn't even look up to these people and I wasn't scared, was so weird. And I was what's going on? So I went home one day and I don't know what self-help book I was reading at the time, but it was yeah, what I say matters, and people want to hear what I have to say. And that resonated with me so much in my life. But I love playing with words and phrases and things that I learn in self-help books. It's you can read as many self-help books in the whole world, but unless you're implementing them into your life a little by little, then you're not going to learn anything. And they're just words that you read. So it's they have to sink in, but you have to experience them and play with them. It's fun. And I went back into that environment of these people with that thing in the back of my head that said over and over, and I didn't even have to say it over and over. It's before you get there, and maybe a little reminder when you're in that space to make you feel better. What I say matters, and people want to hear what I have to say. And it's even in that moment, whether it was me changing the way they perceived me, or how I was internalizing what they were saying and stuff, and just having it switch that mode, that I had the power to switch it in my mind and in my body. It made it seem there was more opportunity for me to talk, and more opportunity for me to just be comfortable in that space with these people. And And it was just amazing because I was like, I had the power to take back like my power, you know? So yeah, that's exactly what happened. And that's something, it's like once you learn it, once you apply it, it's something that just becomes a part of you. And then you can just move on to the next thing.
Yeah. That's amazing because that's all of what personal growth is, right? It's finding the tools, being exposed to something, hearing something, and just letting it land, right? And then just say, what if I try this? What if I try this? What does it look like for someone who thinks my voice doesn't matter? My presence doesn't matter. And you talked about it. You feel small, right?
Yeah, and I think like with feeling small as far as like even like with mental health, right? Like I have bipolar 2, so with it comes a lot of like internal struggle as far as like I'm worthy, I'm not worthy. I'm worthy, I'm not worthy. And it's like we ourselves are the ones who make ourselves feel small because it's like we don't feel seen, but in order to feel seen, we have to see ourselves first. So it was like my whole life.
Say
even
that
since I was
again,
little.
girl.
Yeah.
Say that again.
In order to be seen, we have to see ourselves first. Is that what I said?
That's what you said.
Oh my God. And that's why I repeat things over and over, even in my own podcast. I'm like, in order to be seen, we have to see ourselves first.
No, that's the juice right there. That's it. That's a wrap, everyone.
Yeah.
That is a wrap. That was our TED Talk. Thank you. In order for you to be seen, you have to see yourself. I do want to pause because it's important to say when people don't see us and we start feeling small, that's for good reason. You said there were sort of people who just, there wasn't space or room and you felt that. And we have that feeling and there's no shame in that. But there's a place of holding it in and keeping it to ourselves because people can be cruel. It's true. I don't want to live in that space, but I always acknowledge that space because it's real. Right?
Yeah, I know. That reminds me of a time like when I was little and we were at my grandma's house and it was like after dinner, it's like everybody, you know, cleans up and then like, but I remember being like, why are the women cleaning up? Like, why do the men get to like go watch TV? Like, I don't get it. Like, and I was so upset like internally. And I asked my mom, I was like, why do they get to go watch TV and why do we have to clean? And and I don't know what she said, but it was basically like, shut up, you know, like in a loving way, like because, you know, and I'm like, well, because what? Like, why can't I just go watch TV? Like, you know,
and why
like
can't they be in here washing the dishes?
yeah, that was like my first feeling of rebellion against my own culture in a way where I was like, this sucks. Like,
yeah,
oh
you have to, it's just the way that it is. You have to accept it. And then so to go against the grain of that, that takes a lot of courage. That takes a lot of bravery. So that's what I want to honor in you. And that's why I just love you. That's when you show up in my title and like, yeah, Erica. It's just lovely. It's just joy. And it's real shit. It's like, look, I had a hard day, but I'm here. I want the listener, this podcast of this episode to hear, okay, I'm not comfortable sharing myself because we hear so often that's already been said. That's already been done. There are probably, if we look 1,000 episodes, 1,000 podcasts that look like ours, that talk like us, that, you know, all the things.
Yeah.
So we stop ourselves. I hear it all the time. Someone already did that. Someone already said that. Someone already has that name. Someone took the name that I wanted, so forget it.
Yeah.
But we have to keep going, right? So that's what I love about you.
So I've definitely like feel like I've pivoted a lot in my whole journey and what I share and what I do. And it's like you said, a lot of times we feel like, oh, like a market is like oversaturated. Okay, what does that even mean? I've heard it so many times in like the spiritual community through all these years of like learning. It's like you can hear the same thing over and over and over, but it only takes like one teacher in order for you to learn that thing, you know? So I definitely think it's a disservice to not show up and to help and share our experiences because the more we talk like about our experiences, the more people will be able to feel like they can talk about their experiences. And it makes it more like normalized, in a world where nobody really talks about mental health, especially like in the community of like Latine and everything. It's like it was never discussed growing up. And it was like I was like the black sheep of the family, feeling like, why am I the one always getting like in trouble? Why don't I get good grades? Why don't I all these things? And then it's like finally it's like you figure something out, and then it's like, why wouldn't I want to share this with everybody? Like to help other people feel seen too. Like, so I feel like that's where I have to keep showing up, because I want to, but also because it's like helping people in so many different ways.
So the more that we do that for one another, particularly as Latine, Latinx, Latinas, however you identify,
yeah.
because we're not that visible. My growing up, there was no America Ferrera. There was nothing. There was some. I won't say there isn't, but it just wasn't the way that we are now. There's no Erica Barrera. There's no Laura Cardona. There's no other beautiful people that we know on the gram, on YouTube, on TikTok, who talk about being Latina, being a Latine, being a mental health advocate, advocating for things that we didn't talk about or hear about when we were growing up. It's important. It's important for you to show up. How did you get to the place where you said, I have to talk about this?
Yeah.
I have to share myself.
Yeah. So it comes from a lot of pain and feeling like I don't want anybody else to experience this pain. And I definitely in my life want to go a lot deeper into the pain and where that came from and where the shame came from. And that's how I've gotten to this point. And I don't ever want anybody to think, well, her life is all rainbows and butterflies, so what am I going to relate to her about, But it's like, I don't want it to be like trauma, like, I don't want to say the word.
Trauma porn.
Exactly. Thank you. Just
trauma
say it.
porn.
Exactly. And so I want to make sure, like in the beginning of my podcast, that's what it wasn't. I don't want it to be a like, well, this is my story, like, like down and dirty to it all. But it's like, I want to say it, but in the time that I want to say it, and it's okay. I've learned that unless you're ready to talk about something publicly, maybe don't say it yet. And that's something I like live by every day. It's very hard when you're an oversharer and when you want to help others. And I say it in personal spaces in real life, and I love connecting with people. And when I share parts of my story, they literally look at me and they're like, what? Like, and I'm like, yeah, like this is what I've experienced. And there's a lot of like drug use. There's a lot of promiscuity. There's a lot of like really bad times where it was very dark. And like, I just think about it and I'm like, my life could be so much different if I'm kept going in a certain route. Like I probably maybe wouldn't be here. If I was, I'd probably like be living in the street. I wouldn't have the life I have today. And I think like eventually those are the stories I would love to tell. So I think that's my why, and that's why I'm doing it, but I just haven't like unveiled the whole picture yet. Yeah.
In the moments where you have to sort of negotiate, do I share this? Do I not share this? How do you talk to yourself?
I feel like it goes back to, am I ready to talk about this in general, right? Like it goes back to almost in a way, like, have you healed that part on your own in order to be able to like help others and kind of not stand up for yourself in like a little room, but like, it's like, that's, I think where it comes down to is like, and also like protecting myself. You just have to like listen to yourself, and when you're ready, you'll know you're ready, but you have to like really connect with yourself and know yourself in order to get to that point. And I always say, if you have to ask, you already know the answer. I say that all the time. And it's true. And only you know. Nobody else can tell you what is right or wrong. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's the takeaway, right? Of what you just said is ask yourself. Stay with yourself. Be with yourself for a while and just check in with yourself. You're someone who's done a lot of healing. You've used, you talk a lot about tools in your podcast, which I loved. By the way, everyone check it out. Well, all the links will be in the end of the episode. I can't remember what episode it was, but you were talking about how the tools came to you. And I wanted to ask, some tools work, some tools don't.
Right.
What made you keep trying?
I needed to. Like, people were like, how did you get to this point? I'm like, I had to. Like, I had to. I know there was more. And it's so funny because there was like this one time, I'll tell like a little brief story. So once I was working at a hair salon as an assistant, and it was at one of the like outdoor malls in the Chicagoland suburbs. And there was a woman who approached me, and I was eating my lunch outside, and I was like, just eating. And I probably looked really sad because I was in my early 20s, and I was really sad in my early 20s. I was not diagnosed. I was living a wild and crazy life in Chicago and commuting to the suburbs. And I was like, what is my life? But she approached me and was like, oh, like, excuse me, miss, like, you look so sad. And I was like, yeah, I am sad. I was like, how did you know? You know? And she's like, well, like, I can help you. And I was like, oh, okay. How are you going to help me? You know? And she's like, if you give me like $100, like, I will go and I'll do like this service, like ceremony thing for you. I'll pray with a candle and all this stuff. And I was like, okay. And she gave me all of this like really random, like false hope when I was hopeless and felt hopeless. And so sure enough, here I go. I went to the ATM, like, I don't know, maybe after 5 minutes of listening to her talk, gave her $100, and she went on her way and I went on my way. And this is just the story of, right, like how we believe in something, but it doesn't work out, right? But we have to keep going. So I'm talking to this woman. She calls me the next day. Oh, I prayed for you and all this stuff, but something just really was intense. I had to bring my mother in. Like, we really had to pray together, and it's going to cost this much more money now. And I said, oh, like, well, okay, and I ended up going to her home. I don't know this woman, and yeah, so this is vulnerability to the max. And when you're not in the right state of mind and you're giving your power away to somebody because you feel like they're going to help you, but whatever, I'm going to keep going because I'm willing to do whatever I need to do to feel better, to get help. And so I'm in this woman's place, and then there's like a little altar and stuff. But then there's also like a neon beer sign that's by like an unfinished pool. And I'm like, this is like a weird, like, I felt weird. I was like, something doesn't feel right, but whatever. I'm going to keep going with this. And so I'm sitting there, and she's talking about how she saw stuff, and she's like, in a past life, you were like a Robin Hood, like making, like helping the poor and all this stuff. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, and after all this stuff, like, she was like saying, oh, is there a way to get more money? I'm like, no, there's not a way to get more money. Oh, can you call your grandma? No, I'm not going to call my grandma. Like, no, there's no money. But there's this one thing where when she said, something inside of me woke up, and I was like, no, I'm leaving now. And she said, do you know that feeling when you meet someone and you automatically know, like, you don't like them? And I was like, well, yeah. And she's like, that's how people feel when they meet you. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? I was like, okay, there's this thing inside of me. Yes, my light may be super dim, where it's like you could put it out with your finger, like, but when she said that, it like reignited this light within me where I was like, no, like, absolutely not. I am leaving. Goodbye. And I thought to myself in that moment, I felt like I woke up and I was like, where am I? I need to leave immediately. I am not safe. I don't know what's happening. I don't know how I got out of that place. I don't know why, all these things, but I do know, even from a place like that of vulnerability, and that's not the last time something like that would happen in my life. And that's one of the reasons why I'm sharing my stories, is because when we are in such pain, when we do have so much trauma, and we're willing to go wherever makes us feel like we have hope somewhere, a lot of times, like, people are going to prey on those that are vulnerable. A lot of times. I've experienced it, and I never want anybody to experience that again. And that's why I went into like a whole healing, like spiritual, I was like offering like Reiki and all these different modalities that really helped me But like you said, what helps you keep going when you know that there is a purpose, that I am here? Reading those spirituality books, at the end of the day, yeah, some tools might not work, but it's the fact that you're trying. It's the fact that you keep looking into different tools. There was plenty of times where I didn't want to keep going in my own life with my mental health and all of that. But at the end of the day, I'm like, I'm still here and I have to like keep, I don't know. There's just something inside of you that knows deep down, like, okay, I have to keep going. I want to keep going no matter what it takes. Like, I read this one book by Dr. Barbara DeAngelis, and it said Soul Shifts. It's what it's called. And that book completely turned my life around, because one of those things, right, where I was like repelling it. My mom got it for me. I was like, I don't want to read that book. Ugh, like another book. Ugh. One day I decided to read it, and I was at such a low point where it was like one step at a time. Literally, if you have to tell yourself, okay, I have to get up from this chair. I'm going to get up from the chair now. I have to walk to get water. Okay, I am going to walk to get water. I am pouring the water. Literally, I had to do that at one point in my life, because that's how hard I was struggling. Whereas like, I didn't even want to get up from a chair. So to kind of answer your question in a really long-winded way, there's just something inside of you that has to just keep moving and moving to the next step, even if something doesn't work, even if you were preyed on by whoever and whatever. Like, you just have to keep going. And it's like, if I can keep going, I feel like the next person keep going. And that's why it's so important to keep sharing like our stories. The end.
It's absolutely amazing. I love what you're saying. I love how you're saying it. Thank you for sharing that. How I started the little preview of the episode was, we close ourselves off, right? We shut ourselves down because people have been cruel to us. People have said mean things. And in that, there's no shame in that, but in that we're also shutting ourselves to the possibility of good happening, which you've had both, right? To me, when you say that thing inside of me, and I learned this from my mother, I feel like crying because it's the zest for life. It's the desire to live, because we know those moments of not wanting to move forward. So that darkness, and it's probably even worse for some people. I'm sure you have other stories. I have stories. We all have some dark shit behind us. We all have things behind. And what do they call it? The skeletons in our closet? Mm-hmm. So what it is that I want to say, and I'm saying it all messy, is a lot of people are like, oh, well, my life's not that messed up, so I don't need any of this. Mm-hmm. It's even tough. It's tough for them to look at the closet, to look at their own space. They can't do that,
right?
Because it's so hard. That's what you do. I just felt it. I'm like, that's what you're doing. You're showing a part of yourself in that story where you were like searching for something. You're searching for support, searching for love. You're searching for meaning. You're searching for a solution. And then some fucked up ladies doing some fucked up shit. You know what I mean? And here you are. Mm-hmm. But then you found it. You're like, wait a minute. Something's wrong here.
Yeah.
No. And then because of those moments, probably multiplying moments, but probably a compound of moments, right? Where you said, I can't have someone else go through that. And that to me is the truth. So I feel like I'm talking and I'm asking you a question, but because that's what I do. I do what I do because in truth, it's pure selfishness. I need to be who I needed when I was growing up.
Amen.
I need to be that person because, whoo, it was rough. There were things that I should not have experienced. There were things that I shouldn't have seen that I didn't, but I didn't know what I didn't know. You didn't know what you didn't know. Now you do. You're sitting here in a beautiful light, with a beautiful haircut, in your beautiful home with your beautiful husband, living your beautiful, joyful life, doing beautiful things, just enjoying, allowing the light to come through to you. And so I don't even know what the message is here. It's just saying it is possible. Maybe that's just it. You know what?
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what this whole damn episode is about. It's possible, y'all.
It is. Yeah. Peace is possible. It truly is. And all I have to do is make a decision and keep going. And it's like, it's not going to be, it's like, just have fun with it.
I mean, this is what the Buena Vida is all about. That's what I call it. You have to make a choice. Getting comfortable with being uncomfortable is making a choice to make it your own, to move forward and say, no, I'm not putting up with this nonsense. I'm not putting up with this. I'm not putting up with that. I'm going to allow good things to happen. I'm going to allow myself to, I'm going to give myself the gift of a good life. I'm going to give myself the gift of a Buena Vida.
And know that you're worthy of one just because you're here. Like it is your birthright to have a good life. You were born into this life to have a good life, you know? Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And it's possible. It's possible.
It's so possible.
It's possible.
It's so possible. I want to scream it from the rooftops every day. Like, and it's like every day's not perfect. Like I have really depressed days. And you know what helps is by honoring those depressed days, by allowing myself to feel that way, telling the people that I'm closest to that I'm having a bad day, that it's nothing personal, that I need, you know, whatever I need. But yeah, like every day is not perfect, but it's honoring the days that are not perfect. Yeah.
Is there any messages that you have for a listener who's like, these two are out here talking about themselves. They're out here sharing things. I got something to say too. Where do they start?
I would say in real life, probably first. In real life, start showing up as who you are. And that's where I'm like, the importance of just showing up as yourself fully allows other people to show up authentically as themselves and be able to tell their story or somebody that they know. And like to each their own, like we said earlier, right? Live your life, do what you want. But I think it's very important when people are like, well, it's not my job to teach somebody this, or it's not my job to teach somebody that. Oh, well, if it's not your job, whose job is it to tell them that? Like, you might not want to, and that's fine. But I also think it's very important. Like, what if they don't come across somebody else like you? If not you, then who, right? If not now, then when? We need to be able to be vulnerable and having like these conversations. And if you say a lot of times like, oh, it's not my job, but then all of a sudden one day you feel like, oh, maybe it is my job to say this, then do it. You know, like it's okay to change your mind and it's okay to change who you are. It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. So go out there, keep living your life, have fun with it. Life is a game at the end of the day, like how I see it. So it's just like, go out and play, have fun. Like things can get serious, but think of it in a different way where it doesn't have to be serious.
Amen. Yes, ma'am. No, you said it. I don't even know where to go from there because that's it. That was the church moment.
I get so
it's
excited.
amazing. How can people find you? What do you got going on? Tell us all the things.
Yeah, so you can find me. I'm mainly on Instagram at erica.nicole.barrera. And on YouTube, same thing, erica.nicole.barrera. And then, of course, the podcast Bipolar Baby is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and then also on YouTube through my name. I've been showing up a lot more like on YouTube and not only necessarily talking about like mental health, but really focusing on something else that brings me joy, which is like you said, like there could be through anything. And recently it's been a lot through my art. And it's like it's activated something in me. And it's like, look, just because you start something and you're spreading a message in this way doesn't mean you always have to do it in that way. I believe wholeheartedly that like wherever our heart is leading us is where we're meant to be. So yes, the podcast, but also the YouTube for now. And who knows in the future what it could be. So, but that's it for now.
I love it. I love it.
Yes.
I love it. For me, it truly is inner child play, which is what has saved my life. So just be able to be like, let me step into my joy.
Yes.
The Buena Vida way. So I love it. So thank you for sharing that. This was so lovely. Thank
you so much for letting me be able to share my story and my life and everything I care about and want to help people with, like on your platform and your community. I'm so grateful and I'm so happy that we know each other.
Thank you so much, my
this was
friend.
so amazing. I'm so grateful.
good.
Honestly, thank you so much. I feel so good about it. Yeah.
Yeah, this is good. It's a good one. All right, friends, there you have it. Erica, thank you for your honesty, your openness, and reminding us that in order to be seen, we have to see ourselves first. So if you're wondering whether your story is enough, whether you're allowed to take up space, whether you need permission to speak, y'all, bump that noise. Say this out loud with me, even if you don't believe it. What I say matters. Because it does. No one else is going to say it like you. No one. And really, you don't know who you're going to reach by showing up as yourself. And in my very humble opinion, that's where peace lives. When we share what matters to us, and even more so when we find a way of doing it that actually works for us. Peace is possible. A buena vida is possible. And amiga, we need your joy. Please share it. Thank you for being with us here today. Until next time. Bye.
Get comfy with the uncomfy. That's where the magic begins.
Thank you for tuning in and spending some time with me today. And we all know the podcast spiel. If you liked what you heard, please make sure to subscribe, follow, rate, drop a little love in the reviews. It really does help, and it helps spread the word. And hey, if you know someone who needs this, any of this, in their ears right now, please share the episode with them. And if you're ready for more than just listening, ready to shift, to stretch, to step into your own buena vida, then let's do this, yeah? From one-to-one personalized coaching to group coaching, fun workshops, and all kinds of other little goodies, all the info is waiting for you over at my website, www.buenavida.life, or connect with me on the gram at Buena Vida Life Coach.
I'm getting comfy in the uncomfy, dancing with the night until it holds me. Breath by breath, I let it flow. Even in the dark, my light will show.
You made it to the end, and here is the very last message. You can hold the hard. You can hold the discomfort. You can hold all that and still reach for joy and still reach for good. You can be scared and still keep going. You can get comfortable with the uncomfortable. And when you don't feel like you can, come find me. Until next time, friends, keep going, keep growing, show the world who you are, and never, ever stop betting on you. Thank you for listening to Get Comfy with Laura. This episode is brought to you by me, Laura Cardona. Producer, me. Researcher, me. Audio engineer, me. Editor, me. Social media, me. Expert, me. Giving myself credit where credit is due. For more, head over to buenavida.life. Bye!